Alright, so anyway, I'm finally gonna do the repairs on this, the leak repair. I already replaced the O-ring on that was leaking. And then I did a leak test and saw that somewhere down there, one of the gaskets down there is leaking, and then 100% the gasket on the EGR is leaking. What was I trying to look at? Where the hell is the EGR? It's wet because I sprayed it down. Oh, that bar right there, you have to unscrew that off. See that? It's highlighting right there. I'm putting the mic. That bar goes down there. You have to take that off of this EGR when you take it off in the back. Alright, so pretty much you gotta let's get this light up here. You gotta take off this hose. That's one. This hose. And then this switch here, you pull out this red switch, and then this will come on the mass airflow. Which way does this thing go? Does this go down? Oh, sorry. You flip this up like that, and then it pulls off. Yeah, you flip it up like that, and that comes off. I think the same one is over here. Oops. Another switch. Oh yeah, there it is. That's off. And here's the placements. Now, when I go into AutoZone to look for this is an 05, and AutoZone was saying they don't have it. They don't have this EGR Tube O-ring for this car because this thing's saying it was stopped in 05, 04, which is bullshit. That same ring is used, I don't know, way newer than 04. I think I showed this already. I don't know, whatever. That's these. And over time these crush, so I'm thinking of putting some gasket shit down. I mean, why not? If these are going to crush and stop working, why wouldn't I put a gasket sealer on there so it doesn't matter anymore? I just don't understand why you wouldn't do that. I did it on my Crown Vic. Why do I want that stuff to harden over time and release when I could just put that on there? This stuff that's used on cars for years, bro. So anyway, oh shit, I just broke the... Damn it. Stupid. This stupid setup on this friggin' car is crazy. This is your windshield wiper fluid. This hose gets brittle. It's not supposed to be rubber like this. I replaced that. It's like brittle. It just breaks up in there. I just tapped that and it broke it. It's so annoying. Sounds like it's cracking again. All right, so I'm gonna have to fix that again. I think. Yeah, whatever. I'll fix it. All right, with this same stupid hose. So annoying. Stupid Ford shit. So that's on. And then I don't know if this has a red tab on it. What's the red tab look like on that one? It's right near the bottom. Ah, damn it. Where's my flashlight? I'll probably put it in my other pocket, right? Let's see a tab on there. I don't remember how that came off. Oh, it was a squeeze. You just squeeze like this, squeeze. Squeeze. I just squeezed down there and pulled it off. Alright. These are things we don't want to forget. Don't want to forget the disc reconnect. Let's see, so some bolts. Alright, those are 8mm. Of course, I forgot to bring the 8mm wrench. Alright, so anyway, I got those screws off on the back of the EGR, these here. Those are 10mm. There's one, you know, there's two there, and then that bracket. Oops. Let's see. Where the hell is it? Oh, this metal bracket. I took the bolt off, and then you'll see that goes over this way, and it's right. It's the right in there. That nut down in. It's that nut. You see that nut down in there? It's a 13mm nut. Let's see if I can get down there and touch it. This nut right here. That's 13mm. You just gotta loosen that and then move that bracket out of the way. I don't see how to remove this hose yet. I don't see the clips. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to move it. And I took off the other hoses. The hose that went to the top of the EGR, I took that hose off, and it came up all the way over here and attached to this puppy. Where did it attach to? Attached there, and then one of the other attachments was over there somewhere. Oh, it's all the same hose, you'll see. Okay. So what do I have to do next? I have to undo that tube. I have to get the other hose off. Hose off in the back. That hose right there. Right there. That hose. Alright. Alright, so anyway. Oh, by the way, the hoods on these cars become guillotines, so you probably want to put a clamp on that thing, unless you like this hood just slamming down on your head after a couple minutes. This thing, that comes off by pushing. You push the tube in, and then you push that white clip in, and then it'll come off. So that's off. So, I had to push it in with a tool, the white clip in with a tool, and then now I think I'm gonna take off these cables. So memorize where the cables go. Alright, so I didn't bother taking off these cables. There's no reason to take them off. I just left them and just pulled the manifold out. And as you could see, these seals are completely flat. They're completely fat. I don't even know how those are working. Those are totally shot. Completely flat. That's crazy. Let's see what we got down in here. Probably mostly leaking. I think it was mostly leaking on this side, but I don't know how it wasn't leaking everywhere. And I'm gonna leave, there's a gasket on there. I'm just gonna leave that on there. I don't really care about that. And this is the bar. You just had to loosen it with that like 13 millimeter. Just had to loosen it. And I forgot to take off these two wires. They were just push it in, and push down here, press on that, and pull it out. Same with the other one. This actually wasn't all that difficult to do. But when I did the spark plugs on these, I didn't take that off. I just reached behind here and did the spark plugs. But now I can see my job I did. These stupid gloves. I used the thin ones. Let's see how good I addressed the wiring back here with just my hands. I had to do the wiring to make sure the spark plug wires weren't touching or shorting. I did a pretty good job. That one's falling out of its thing. I can't do anything about that. Actually, it's probably never in it because I couldn't see it. Where's the other one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they look, the plug wires look pretty good. That wetness is from me spraying those screws on the EGR. I really hate this car, to tell you the truth. But I think after replacing these seals, it'll go back to normal. It's got some real bad salt rock because it doesn't get washed underneath. But those are definitely shot. And then this one I haven't taken out yet. Oh, maybe I should have done that. Alright, let's restart when I take that off. I think those are 11 millimeter bolts. Alright, so I took out the 11 millimeter bolts, and watch this. That O-ring isn't doing anything. Oops, I must have went too far. Oh, look at that piece of the O-ring actually broke off. Remember which way this is in. This was in this way, pointing into the tube. I'm going to clean that off a little. Yeah, so that O-ring is pretty shot. It still feels rubbery. But I'm going to clean this off, probably give it a blow, see if it holds air. I'm pretty sure it's probably fine because that O-ring is shot. Alright, I got the new gaskets in, and as you see, those things actually sit up where the old ones were completely flat to the thing. But I don't understand why people don't put sealer on here. Gasket sealer. I'm gonna put gasket sealer on there. And I cleaned that enough, good enough. Not gonna clean down into the engine or anything. Those are pretty dirty. But not much you can do about all that. And I'm not going to clean off any dirt on top of here. Just leave it alone. It's not gonna come upward and fall into it. Gotta fix that stupid washing windshield fluid. All right. All right, so this is the 3.0 V6. I don't know what it is, Durtech or whatever. It's the one with this attached here, this crap. These things go bad too, these coils, they crack and you don't know what's going on and they spike. You could pull these off and see they should jump a spark about that much. But if they're cracked, you're not gonna, that test's not gonna work because they start sparking off to each other. I forget how this fires. Something about, I think one whole side fires and the other side fires, something like that. Or this bank fires, then this bank fires, and this bank fires all at the same time. You know what I mean? These fire together, these fire together, these fire together, and I think when it cracks, it makes the one opposing to it fire also. So I got that fixed. I put some tubing in there and some of the silicone sealer, gasket sealer, since I had so much of it. Actually, it was an old tube and I needed to, it was clogged to the front, so I just cut a hole in the side. And yeah. So I sealed that intake to the head, or the whatever that is. I sealed it. I put sealer on there. I will not listen to anybody that tells me that that's wrong. That's bullshit. That should be done as a permanent fix. You should never have to replace that gasket. Unless when you need to take the intake off, which you shouldn't have to. Doing spark plugs on this, you do not have to take off that intake. It's not, you do not have to. You can get your hands behind there and do those 3 spark plugs. It's a pain in the ass, but if you take off that intake, you're gonna have to replace those things. That's a bigger pain in the ass to me. I haven't started this up yet. I gotta get the codes going. See if I can look up the fuel trims. At 100% fixed it. That EGR O-ring was completely crushed on 3/4 of the side. What I put in there, I don't know. I don't know how that actually works. It seems to pinch against the inner nipple. It was kind of weird. It seems like it's sealed. Hopefully it did. It was a weird setup. I think you could. No, you can't. I was gonna say I think you could replace that O-ring without taking the intake off. But you can't because the EGR whole thing is in your way. And generally, you don't want to try to unbolt those because they're usually rusted on. So anyway, yeah. So everything is connected. Jackings are connected. Those 3 there goes up over there. That's connected. You got your flapper, stupid thing that leaks. That's connected. Those are the vacuums. The upper hose is connected. That's connected up to the EGR is connected. You know, your connector, electrical's connected. Electrical's connected over there. That lower bolt. Where is it? Where is that bolt? That 13mm white bolt down the middle down there. That I tightened up. The little screw, the black bracket, that screw, that's tightened. Of course, the EGR screws are tightened. That's tightened. Make sure that this is sitting correctly on there. When I first put that on there, this was a little crooked, and if you tighten that, you're going to cut the rubber with that hanging off. So that's on. The mass sensor is connected with the clip pushed in. I didn't take off these cables. There was no need to, with the covers put back on. I think that's it. I know I fixed it. All right, so let's see what happens. All right, there's the fuel trims. We have the light on because of multiple misfires, random misfires. I don't know when it's the closed loop yet, because it certainly sounds like the engine's running better. It used to always skip. Supposedly the short-term fuel trims, the STs, are supposed to go to negative of what the long-term says to offset them. I got the car at 1800 RPM right now. Those negatives? Yeah. Take it for a drive to warm it up. That looks like it's coming out the top of the EGR now. So what the hell? Is EGR bad? Damn. Smoky. All over here is good again. Is good. No smoke in there. Uh-oh, we got some smoke coming off this. That may be because I have the... That's a new O-ring. Maybe because the pressure is so high. Maybe the other one's leaking because the pressure's high. That's a crock of shit. Oh, that's a new O-ring. But that's even worse. Nothing else. Nothing from the intake. Nothing from the intake. And by the way, I don't know what I did in the other video, but on this one, since this goes to the switch, I disconnected. This sucks on the switch, so I disconnect that and put and stick in the air in here. Be careful not to stress this out and break it. That's why I have the tube pinned behind here and come in here to not stress that out. All right. Well, I cleared the codes, and I'll see what the car does. It seems to be... It doesn't seem to be completely fixed, but you see why that EGR is leaking horribly. But everything else isn't. That might be leaking because there's too much pressure. That didn't start till a while. That was instantly leaking. That didn't start for a while. And as you see, the smoke is going right in at that. So you would think it would start leaking immediately. That might be leaking because the pressure is too high. But this started leaking immediately. And I guess it could be because the pressure's high. But the car seems to be loping 80 RPMs. I cleared the codes. See if a code comes up. The fuel trims don't look good at all. I don't know what the hell to do with those. They were sitting in the 20s the last time I drove it. And that's still leaking. So I don't know. Maybe that EGR is stuck, open or closed. I don't know. And I got that blocked off over there with a paper bag, with a plastic bag. I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna take it for another test drive and see what happens. But you know, these are definitely the issues. That head gasket, the intake gaskets, those things are completely flat and shot. That gasket over there was flat and brittle. The EGR Tube O-ring, we're talking about O-ring on those two. That O-ring was completely flattened on 3/4 of its side and fell apart. You saw it fell apart when I had taken it out. I don't know if I chipped it or what, but there's nothing cuttable in there. It's a round surface in there that the O-ring slips onto. So there's nothing that would have cut it. So I guess it just fell apart. But you know, these are the major issues. And the most annoying part is that O-ring. I put the 04 O-ring on there. You can't buy that O-ring anywhere. I don't know where Eric Go at SMA bought it from. He says he got it at Napa. I called up Napa. They don't sell it. But his video is 4 years old, I think. Yeah, crapping him. And all anybody has is the kit. The Felpro kit that comes with the EGR gasket and the O-ring. Nobody sells the damn O-ring separate. I'm going to try calling Ford and tomorrow morning to see if they have it. Because the one I put in there isn't correct. I mean, I didn't get it to seat in properly. I don't know if it's correct or not. I mean, what changed between 04 and 05? It's the same damn thing. I should go check to see if this same intake is on an 04 to an 06. If it is, then that O-ring that you can get for the 04 and below at any parts store is the right O-ring. I didn't. Eric O, when he bought it from Napa, it was fully loaded with lubricant, and he put even more on it. And I didn't do that. I sprayed some silicone stuff on there, which isn't too slippery. So when I pushed it in there, it didn't click in. So it's hard to figure out how it goes in. So I just forced it and then bolted it shut. And I think it started leaking. So I don't know if you saw it in there. I went in there. I loosened the EGR, moved it back, and then I went in and filled the whole area where the O-ring is with gasket sealer. And as you saw, it's not leaking that area. It's leaking down the EGR diaphragm. And still is. So I think the O-ring is the same damn thing. I just didn't lubricate it enough to get it to slip in. Let me see some. If you don't understand what's going on there, you're not going to be able to put gasket stuff sealer on there. It's just the outside lip. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to start putting it all on the inside stuff, which is at the tube, and that's not going to do a damn thing. You have to know what that looks like to be able to get that in there. You can't get that in there with those screws sticking in there in the way. But this thing is leaking at the EGR. Oh, that is so annoying. I can't stand this car. It's nothing but problems. This engine's a piece of shit. This engine is a piece of shit. I swear to God. Oh, these stupid problems. That 4.8 and that Crown Vic over there, no engine issues with that damn thing. I mean, I did crack the intake manifold, which will happen to everybody's car, but that's a big deal. That's a hell of a lot simpler to fix than this stupid crap that you got to chase and chase and chase. Oh, so annoying. All right, so I'm going to take this car for another drive and see what happens. That's in park. Well, yesterday I didn't see those short terms so in the negatives at all. Let's see what happens when I rev up. That's 1800 RPM. The AC pump keeps kicking on like every 30 seconds, causing the RPMs to go up about 100 or something. 150. 600 to 800. 650 to 850 for a second. Yeah, the AC pump just kicked on and then kicked off, I think. Let's drive around and see what happens. The engine seems to be running a little smoother. I mean, it keeps fluctuating between 680 and 750. Every time it goes to 680 RPM, it jumps up to 740. $640. Looking back at that video, the EGR, is the smoke was coming out those holes, but I don't think those holes are meant for anything. I think there's a diaphragm in there, so those holes are probably so air on the opposite side of the diaphragm doesn't restrict it from doing its job. At least I think that's how that's working, a diaphragm setup, since they're always round like that. I don't know, maybe because the PSI was too high. I can't really adjust my thing. The thing said it was at 0 PSI. I mean, I just turned it till I could hear air start to come out. But I really don't know what that setting is. There's like no accuracy below 10 PSI, so... We'll just have to let this thing drive a while, see it, and see if misfires come back up. It sucks because the misfire data is kind of old. Can't see what the hell I'm doing. And because there's misfires, it won't complete this cycle. And for Fords, this cycle is just crazy. This cycle will never complete if you don't let the fuel tank get below half. And oh, the fuel tank is at 3/4 right now. I might just suck some gas out of that to get it to below half to try to get this to clear. And when there's misfires, this won't clear. It won't run the test. I don't believe, because ever since it's been misfiring, this will not complete. And I don't know how old this freeze frame stuff is. Wait, where is it? That's not the one. Is it data stream? I forgot how to get it. Record preview data, review data. And I don't know how old this data is. Misfire count last cycle 1. So you're saying on this one it's an error 0. 3 on the last. 0 on this one. I don't know what EWMA is. Oh, you can't even read the screen. Goddamn thing. Alright, so 0 on that one. And you say 0 on that one. And see, last was 3. But I don't know what that the last time I drove this, it said 0 there, so I don't know if this data is old. I don't know what EWMA stands for. I think this data is old. I think this is the one that's going to show a code. Oh. Huh. Wait, was this one? Could have swore since DDC's cleared. Inconclusive. Fuel system honor, inconclusive. I don't know why these are all inconclusive. I swore one of these showed a P300, which was real old. And it said it was 73 degrees out, which it said it was just when the car was started. In the garage, the garage might be around 70, maybe 73. Maybe that's gone now. Alright, maybe I'll have to wait. I don't think I've ever used this before. Record data. I don't think any of this stuff is useful. I mean, it was just the fuel, the trims I was doing. It doesn't useful, not useful in the thing that I wanted to do. show possible misfires, but it doesn't have that in here. Alright, so I don't know, this is a wasted video. I mean, I hear the engine loping slightly. Before that RPM was definitely, that needle was definitely moving every time it loped. I mean, it was moving a lot. Now it's, you see it's just a tiny bounce. It's staying on the line. Before when the engine was loping, it was, you know, that thing was you know, going up to that next line and then dropping down below the line, then coming back up, and then it would sit where it is now, then jump back up. It was, let me turn on the AC. See, the AC makes that jump up. Well, I don't have not the AC, the air system. But see, this is different. When the compressor kicks on, that's going to jump up for a second. I think it just kicked on there. Maybe when the compressor kicks on, no, there you go. There, the compressor just kicked on. See, that's different than the engine loping. That's the car knowing it's about to turn on the compressor, and it increases the RPMs to not stall out the engine. I think it'll do it every 30 seconds. There it goes right there again. Now see, that's not what the loping thing was. Before it would do something like that every couple seconds. I mean, you can't hear the engine, but I can hear the engine kind of like it's skipping. But you see that needle's pretty straight. That's the AC turning on again. The compressor turning on again. There it just did an unusable drop. But it's holding much more steadier than before. So maybe this is solved. What is this video, like an hour now? God damn, man. I hate this car. Anyway, well, if this is the last video, oh well, I have to let the car be driven for a week and see if any codes come up. Hopefully they don't, because it's running a lot smoother. I don't want to replace that EGR valve. Ugh. There's the AC kicking on again. All right.